Ahoy hoy, I'm Planet Walk, and recently I was going through Level Earth Observer's channel when I came across a video that intrigued me. Now, this is from a while ago, but I still want to take a look at it. The reason being is because it criticises our favourite word salad chef, Ken Wheeler. Now, I have seen a flat earther try to criticise Ken Wheeler in the past, but they missed opportunities to make actually good points. So let's see if Level Earth Observer can actually have some decent criticisms of Ken Wheeler, because there are criticisms to be made of Ken Wheeler. I've made them myself.
You would have thought by now Ken Wheeler would have got what the flat earth is. In case you're wondering, the flat earth is simply demonstrable science that can be tested and verified by every single person on this earth, the results of which prove the globe is scientifically impossible.
Well, you'd be wrong, because when you actually understand the evidence, you come to the conclusion that Earth is indeed a globe. As an example, we could go with the fact that things disappear bottom first over the horizon, or we could go with the fact that there are two celestial poles, or we could go with the fact that you can bounce radio signals off of the moon and it will take them roughly 2 seconds. And that is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to evidence. There is so much more than that.
Don't need a map to represent what is. Don't need a model to represent what is. I stand by demonstrable science, like I say, the results of which can be tested and verified by all, which of course proved the globe is impossible.
Okay, two things. Firstly, it sounds like Level Earth Observer has a bit of a cold there, so Leo, if you're ever feeling unwell, take a break. It's fine to do that. Whether you think the Earth is flat or whether you think the Earth is a globe, make sure you're taking care of yourself. That's number one. But secondly, you do need a model, because a model is there to accurately describe what is going on in reality. Now, models can be incorrect. However, it's not about how incorrect a model is. It's about how accurate the model is. And if one model is more accurate than another model, then that model gets used. Even if it has some flaws, it's still more useful. Of course, there are other factors to take into account, but the main thing should be, is it accurate? Now, if you do not have a model, then you automatically fail when it comes to accuracy, because you have nothing to be accurate. That's not being accurate.
So why do characters like Ken Wheeler still, to this day, all these years later, struggle to understand that the flat earth is simply demonstrable science? Probably because the mainstream media does such a good job with its misrepresentations.
I would say that it's because it's so obvious that Earth is a globe that even Ken Wheeler, someone who has some wacky ideas about how the world works, even Ken Wheeler can see that it's a globe. In fact, Ken Wheeler's view of how the world works is completely in contradiction to Flat Earth, so of course he's never going to be able to accept that the Earth's flat. Because even though he's Flat Earth adjacent, he at least tries to take some of the things he says to their natural conclusion, even if sometimes that natural conclusion is a non sequitur.
But I feel in Ken's case, there's a bit of a cognitive bias going on here. He just can't bear to face that, so as a result has to take on board and buy into all the propaganda and the misrepresentations that are the flat earth.
Okay, if there is anyone that would have bias against the mainstream narrative, it would be Ken Wheeler. He is a contrarian. Like, he lambasts mainstream physics all the time. He doesn't believe in gravity because he thinks that it's just magnetism. Does he have an ego? Yeah, of course. And that may be part of the reason why he doesn't think that the Earth is flat, because flat Earth is just that ridiculous that he would have to be wrong to accept that the Earth is flat. But him accepting that the Earth is a globe is certainly not from globe propaganda from mainstream science.
Certain entities. I got this nice flat rock here. Here's a perfect example. Why did you go after these people? It's flat! It's flat! It's flat rock. I didn't realize I had a flat rock on my table. And I said, I don't care what people believe in. Let them believe in whatever they want.
Demonstrable science that can be tested and verified by all isn't a belief, Ken. It's reality.
Okay, there was no substance whatsoever in what Ken Wheeler said there, except to make fun of flat earthers. It'd be like if you criticised one of my videos and this is what you did. Ahoy ahoy, I'm Planet Walk, and recently I've been going through some of the flat earthers that I haven't responded into a while to see if they're still doing anything.
It doesn't matter whether flat earthers are still saying anything about a Planet Walk. It is demonstrable reality that the Earth is a level plane.
So as you can probably tell, I don't expect a whole lot of good criticisms from Level Earth Observer if that's what we're going to be getting.
Belief is thinking that the reality is exactly the opposite, that what can be tested and verified by all. The tower cranes are somehow upside down on a spinning, wobbling, oscillating ball in relation to your position.
Elio, how are you still on the tower crane argument? You're like a broken record at this point. You need to be sat down and told this is how things work, not the way that you think that they work. You know, Elio, I would have a Zoom or Discord chat with you to try and put these misunderstandings that you have to rest. However, I kind of doubt that you'd take me up on that offer. You know, I keep on putting these offers out there to Ken Wheeler, Bill Gady, even flat earthers like CC, and they don't get back to me for some reason. Of course, it is possible that they didn't watch my videos, but surely someone would have told them, right? Although with Ken Wheeler, he has blocked me, so that's probably why he's never going to respond to anything that I have to say.
I said, here's an important point, and this is, as the old saying goes, you know, by their fruit shall you know them. You can know what a group or entity is, and there are many entities like this. I'm actually not singling out these people or any others. Is that they are unhappy believing either by themselves or in a group, whether it be large or small. They're not happy until they can suck somebody else into the vortex of this belief. You know, it's just this black hole or this quicksand that you're going to slip into and just...
Okay, what Ken Wheeler said there actually makes a lot of sense. A lot of flat earthers get so consumed by flat earth that it seems like the only thing that they've got in their life is flat earth and converting more people to be flat earthers. And of course, belief in a flat earth isn't the only belief that seems to have this rabid obsession that seems to just suck the joy out of every last strand of someone's being. I would not want to be Graham Linehan. Of course, I do not 100% agree with Ken Wheeler because I think that it's more the obsession that people have with these things that causes them to be unhappy. It is very important to balance things out in life and to take breaks, Elio, and a lot of people miss that.
Again, demonstrable science that can be tested and verified by all makes me happy because it empowers me. It's very simple for others to understand and take on board. And of course, demonstrable science means you can't be gaslit by any person on this earth, no matter how ignorant, how dishonest, or how stupid they are.
Okay, Elio, let me ask you a question. How long do you spend looking at things like NASA footage? I don't know, footage from the ISS, for example. Because looking at your channel, you seem to be quite obsessed with that. And if it's not you that's finding all these clips and saying, oh, look at this tosh, then it's someone else that has spent a lot of time combing through NASA clips to find one thing that they can say, aha, see, that's fake. That's gotta be draining. Like, sometimes I will go down a rabbit hole that will be more effort than what it's worth, but at the end of the day, I do try to balance that out. Even with my YouTube content, I try to balance it out, even though some people aren't exactly all that happy with me trying to do that. Now, it could be that Level Earth Observer is completely fine and just content with how things are, but there's a lot who aren't. And can you really blame them? Because they do think that there's a global conspiracy to hide the shape of the Earth from everybody. Of course they're not going to be happy about it.
But again, I come back to the simple fact that the flat Earth is simply demonstrable science that proves the globe scientifically impossible. No belief. The empowerment comes from standing by simple, demonstrable truths, the results of which give you a solid foundation to discern for yourself.
Yet, here you are, responding to a video by Ken Wheeler, as if Ken Wheeler's video was a personal attack on your character. Like, let's say that this video that Ken Wheeler was making wasn't about flat earthers, but was about people like myself, for example. I would argue against it by saying that I've got plenty of friends who are happy and content with their life, and I myself am pretty happy and content with my life, although there are problems, but everybody has their problems. I've had a lot of fun just hanging out, whether it be online or in real life, hanging out with people that are just a clone of me. It can be quite scary how similar they are sometimes. And sometimes as part of a live stream or something, and you can see that it's just us having fun, you know, being goofballs or whatever. Sure, there are some people who are basically exactly what Ken Wheeler is describing, who get a little bit too obsessed with what they do and don't have any downtime really, but they seem to be in the minority. Oh, and by the way, in case you're wondering, I'm talking about YouTubers if that wasn't clear. There are some references there explicitly about the debunking sphere that I've made, but then there are some just to other YouTubers that I've hung out with. Anyway, that is how I would respond if Ken Wheeler was talking about YouTubers like myself. Of course, depending on what he was saying about it, I'd have different things to say, but that's a general overview.
I'm very happy. This subject does affect people's mental health, and you have to tread very carefully. And the way you do that is not take on board any propaganda or misrepresentations or straw mans. You just stand by what is.
Well, it does seem like it's the obsession that some people have with Flat Earth that is what's negatively affecting people's mental health. It can get quite obsessive at times, though admittedly that is in a lot of conspiracy theories. And I hate to agree with Ken Wheeler here, but it's probably not just Flat Earth that has this component to it. It's probably a lot of other things as well. I may not agree with all the other things that he would say have this component, but I do agree that there's other things aside from Flat Earth that make people unhappy.
Disempowers them. It's the exact same way, and it's a belief system too. You know, these...
I don't get off on highlighting what simply is. It's great when I see other people grasp the simple truth, which shouldn't be difficult, but the way this place has been set up, demonstrable science regarding the shape of the Earth, the results of which of course prove the globe is impossible, goes against the grain, the mainstream belief. And as a result, you have to put up with a little bit of gaslighting from ignorant people when you address this thing.
Okay, Elio kind of does have a point here, and I'm going to try and make it better. So if you have opinions that are controversial, then you're going to have a lot of people disagreeing with you, and it can be kind of frustrating to have to deal with someone that just doesn't get it. This is just a result of people having disagreements, and you see a lot of it in Flat Earth because people generally don't think that the Earth is flat. It's not being a flat earther that causes that frustration, it's people not getting it. And I think that's a good way of explaining Elio's point, if I've gotten his point correct. Now, of course, there are a few things to point out here, like Elio, you have a YouTube channel that is solely dedicated to making Flat Earth videos. If someone disagrees with you, that's kind of on you putting yourself out there for people to disagree with you. Like, if you have a YouTube channel on anything and you have an opinion, you're going to get people that disagree with you, and they are going to be dense, like denser than the core of the Earth that Elio doesn't believe in.
The quickest way to deal with that, as I keep saying and have done for months, years, is demonstrable science. No one can gaslight you.
Except, even if you're just sticking to the demonstrable science, that doesn't mean that you can't be gaslit or gaslight people. I mean, these days you are saying that you're a demonstrable realist, not a flat earther. Were you saying that when you made this video? Sure, you don't explicitly say that you're a flat earther, but all your statements would lead one to the conclusion that you are a flat earther. Also, one of the things that Elio fails to recognize here is that when it comes to science, there can be bias in the interpretation of results. That's why the whole correlation doesn't mean causation thing is a meme. There's also the fact that if you don't fully understand the results, then your interpretation of them could end up being biased.
The flat earth is just people having a fresh understanding and a new start by standing by what is, refusing to be gaslit by ignorant or dishonest people.
Okay, I disagree with that, and I've talked about this before, but when it comes to flat earthers getting into flat earth, I don't think that they so much have a willingness to believe the earth is flat, but a desire to believe the earth is flat. The difference between the two will wildly change how you perceive things. Like, I have a willingness to believe the earth is flat, but I do not have a desire to believe the earth is flat. You see, for me to believe that the earth is flat, I would need to be presented with compelling evidence that the earth is flat, and I would push back against that evidence if I thought that there was something wrong with it. However, if I have a desire to believe that the earth is flat, then I'm much less likely to push back against arguments that support the position that I want to believe in. It's basically the whole thing of, it's good to be open-minded, but you shouldn't be so open-minded that your brain falls out.
And it's easy to repel the gaslighters. You actually gaslight them back and make them look fucking ridiculous by highlighting the fact they get the same results as you, which of course proved the globe's fucking ridiculous.
Leo, I think that the problem here is not so much the results, but the interpretation. We both have two wildly different interpretations of the same results. For example, let's take things disappearing bottom first over the horizon. I would say that it's the curve of the Earth that is causing that. However, a flat earther would say that it's diffraction and perspective and the angle of attack. We both have the same data, the same results, yet wildly different interpretations of those results.
Ken, stop this. Globe believers, stop this. You've seen how silly the space is. You've seen how silly intelligent men like Ken are regarding this subject.
Intelligent men like Ken, you say? Oh, Leo, I am sorry to disappoint you, but Ken is not smart. He just uses a lot of fancy words in order to make himself sound smart, when he's really just saying nothing. When Ken Wheeler says something like the hyperboloid geometry of counter space, it's really no different to a flat earther saying perspective. Just one has a few more fancy words. Anyway, there's not a whole lot of Ken Wheeler saying anything there. Honestly, it feels like flat earthers don't actually deal with any of the things that Ken Wheeler says. Almost like either they agree with what he has to say, or they don't realize that it's just word salad. One of the two. You would think that at least one flat earther out there would be smart enough to have valid criticisms of Ken Wheeler, but I have not seen that happen. There is a reason why I call him flat earth adjacent, because it seems like he appeals to flat earthers, and Leo kind of added more evidence to that. I mean, if he were a flat earther, flat earthers would love him. Anyway, we'll leave that there. Leo, I thought, would have at least one good argument. He made a few points, but no good arguments, because he wasn't actually responding to arguments. So, leave a like and subscribe if you like this video. Leave a comment letting me know what you'd like to see me do for future videos, or if you're legally obligated to do so. As always, a big shout out to my $20 or more patrons: Hugh Jarsz, M.C.Nutkin, Morrie, Nathaniel Muller, Vermont1777, Tony C, Rosyna Keller, Wolfie, KidVicious, Sacha Campbell, Definitely Not NASA, Craig D'Amelio, Richard M Chapman, and Sain't. If you want to support me financially, you can do so on Patreon. There should be a link over there. But anyway, I will see you in the next video. Between you and me, thank you for watching.